This play is it's different from like every other play you'll watch.
The play takes place in Reconstruction South, right after the Civil War.
It's a Wilkes County legend about a boy who comes home from the war and basically who ends up courting 3 women at the same time.
You just hear these stories growing up, and they're told around campfires at summer camp, and who killed Laura Foster.
It's such a big deal to be part of a world premiere play that you get to originate this character.
It's a little nerve-wracking. It's a different frontier to go out on, but at the same time, we've gotten to work with the composer on a regular basis. We've gotten to work with the book writer.
There's lots of different ways to tell a tale. This is the way we're going to tell it.
It starts with 2 Confederate soldiers, Tom and Jasper, returning home from the war. Tom killed someone in the war, and in his instance, this is somebody from the same country. This is somebody who grew up the same way he did, lived the same life. Basically, he's just trying to come to terms with what he had to do to survive in the war.
Tom is very, very militant, and he's very upset about the Yankees and how they treated the South.
Of course, in any story that you're going to tell, you have to tell a good love story.
And so he sort of gets mixed into this very juicy love triangle.
Prolene is more of a friend. She's kind of a tomboyish type character.
Tom Dooley and she were very good friends before he went off to war, and that relationship kind of holds true when he comes back. She ends up kind of going crazy with jealousy.
Prolene's jealous because Laura is in love with Tom, and Prolene wants Tom.
There's a scene between myself and Laura Foster. It goes rather quickly from cousins being cousins to 2 girls having territory over the same guy. And in the script it actually says the claws come out, and that's pretty much what happens.
Laura, my character, who is currently involved with a Lilly man and uses him to get what she wants. And then she's involved with Tom Dooley, who is handsome. He's what I want out of life.
She's an attractive young girl. He's been around a bunch of guys for 4 years.
She was a lady of ill repute with Tom Dooley.
And he just wants Laura out of his life. And she comes full fury, you know, I'm gonna have you no matter what.
She wants him, she needs him, and she'll do anything she has to make sure that she has Tom Dooley.
When he meets Anne, he meets someone who there's a deeper connection with. She helps turn him from this path of hatred and darkness.
She's very deep, she's very intuitive. She kind of has a gift of reading people. Tom falls in love with her while he's involved with Laura Foster.
The idea was originally a screenplay, and I had written a treatment, and Jan Powell, who's the musical director for the show and the composer, read the treatment, knew the story as well, being from North Carolina.
I read Brenda Lilly's screenplay, and we had talked about it, and I said, you know, this would really make a good stage musical, but I wasn't quite sure at the time if she was ready to let it go as a screenplay. I came up with the idea of wanting to explore Southern Appalachian ballads and balladeers, and how these songs, these murder ballads and other songs, are passed down from generation to generation, one person to another, and how they change.
I feel very strongly that it's an authentic story, so I wanted the music to represent that.
There's no band in the pit, there's no orchestra. Musicians are on stage playing and telling the story as they go along.
When we started writing it, we always felt like we wanted to premiere it in North Carolina.
When Andrew asked for the script, I brought it out here, and I guess he read 4 or 5 pages of it and said, "We'll do it." At which point we all went, "Oh my God, okay, here we go."
I'm really delighted that this play has been done at Parkway Playhouse. Michael and I actually performed here. I think that's a really good full circle for us.
The first table read was really magical. And let me tell you, those actors stepped up immediately. you could tell that they had done their homework and that they were really invested in this project already.
On this show, it's incredible working with the actors. We got an amazing cast for this show. These are people who should be playing these roles.
Well, we're all from the South, all from North Carolina, except for Ken, who's a native California. People that we've cast, a lot of the local people, especially the band, they really understand it. They get it.
The theme of the play, we say it about 12 times throughout the show, and there's lots of different ways to tell a tale.
As recently as 2 years ago, there was legislation in Raleigh to try and exonerate Tom Dooley for this murder. Tom Dooley swore on the gallows that he didn't kill Laura Foster, so that was my jumping off place. I'm taking him at his word and coming up with some other possibilities.
It was said that Laura Foster had dallied with so many of the men in the area that when her murder was announced, any man that could jump on a horse and leave did.
Well, each character is presented with a motivation for wanting Laura dead.
Laura says that Anne did it, Prolene says she did it.
And then, of course, there's Grayson, who was madly in love with Laura and has a deep, burning hatred for Tom.
So there could have been a lot of anger amongst a lot of different characters, and so it leaves it pretty wide open.
The audience is going to leave the auditorium, he says, talking and being like, no, I think this happened, no, I think she killed him.
There'll be people that'll be questioning every single thing.
It's going to give away the show, so I certainly won't tell you who it is.
I'm not telling.
I have my own theory of who killed Laura Foster.
But you're not going to tell?
I'm not going to tell.
I don't know that anybody will ever know. Everybody has a different idea. It could have been any of them. That's the most fascinating thing about the project. Why did they hang it on Tom? No pun intended.
The funny thing about this show is I'm at a point where, 22, I have friends who, straight out of high school, did their 4 years overseas fighting, and I see a lot of what is in Tom's character in these soldiers coming back from overseas.
In terms of the Civil War, that it was brother against brother, family against family. We wanted to explore the effects that war has on an individual, on a community, on a region.
Bad things happen right after a war. Like, war just makes everyone lose control.
It's an anti-war play, and one of the characters in the play, without giving away too much, comes back without an arm and has to deal with it.
I don't think that it's necessarily North versus South or Union versus, Confederate. I think it's just about people, because not all of the Yankees are bad guys in the play, and not all of the Confederates are wonderful, happy, great people, so it doesn't really play either side.
One thing about this play that has made me realize, the people who actually fought, the soldiers who fought to protect the land that they loved, that they grew up with.
So that was what we wanted to explore, how someone who was so damaged and wounded make choices in his life that would redeem him from what he did.
Working with the cast and working with the writers and directors, the production crew, that for me, it's been a really rewarding experience.
It's been a fantastic opportunity that I wouldn't trade for anything else in the world.
There's a reason why we tell these stories that are in our hearts, because it helps us understand why other people lived and died.